Greetings, friends. I'm standing here outside a beautiful Oasis at Brandon. This is where I've lived since I moved. I lived over there when I first came down here to Tampa, 2012. Fought out of all my struggles, pain, and drinking and gambling and everything else. Right. This apartment built up in 2014, and I was just bringing my life back, right? And it was because it was at that time I met my wife. My Tai Chi had just started, so everything like was coming together. So this building was just fresh built, right? So I came over and talked to the people. And they were nice management, and they've always helped me. Over these years, they're making things pretty much clear on what, like my price are, and if the increase what it actually was. And they always looked out for me. Which is the reason I've stayed so long. It's like the longest place I've ever stayed in my life. Uh, but yeah, excuse me a little bit. As I work on myself, things come, and they hit you, and you just gotta fight through it. Remember, stay. Don't let them break you. Everything's coming to break you, right? So Friday, after living here since then, right, never having an issue, especially as far as rent quotes and stuff. Friday, get a door, knock at the door, 6:30 in the morning. It's the sheriff. Brings me this final notice and tells me, well, you have to be out of here no later than 6 o'clock Monday morning. What? What final notice? Wait, I haven't gotten any. No, I haven't gotten anything from the court. Just their lawyer, right? And he changed the motion. And so anyway, this is going on. So I've just been provided, with a lot of blessing from people. And so I'm gonna go ahead and I have went on and got something done, and so I think it'll work if they show up at all, right? But I'm not worried, right? I sent them notice that I'll be out here on the 8th, blah blah blah. They sent me some email back talking about the lawyer said you need to be out before the sheriff's come. I'm like, I wasn't asking y'all for anything. These evil witches in here, man. I mean, one of them ain't so hot on the outside because they're ugly as hell on the inside. And it shows on the outside too. That's just people's spirit. I see it. And so, but they've tried every trick they've done to get me out here. And the bottom line of this here, y'all, it was a rent dispute. Let's just give me simple numbers. They quoted me every year I've been here. Like I said, they know I have the TDI and the problem with the vision, everything. So going through these leases to renew them, it's a lot. And I'll go over there forget something. Hey, you didn't give me these little rings for a pool key. When I've been here 4 years and I'm looking through trying to read through the lease, and they're like, Brad, you have them. But if you want some more, no problem. And the thing is, they only need it for visitors, and I don't get visitors. So. But that's just the complications. Then, of course, the longer you try to do it, it's headaches and vision fades and things jumping around. It's a horrible thing to do, right? And it's bad enough, pain in the arms and hands and locking. So even just clicking, trying to electronically sign, it's a lot. So they said, look, Brad, and this has been since that time, 2014. Look, Brad, we have this. We got you. We're going to just quote you what you have, the garage, the apartment, whatever else. And so you don't have to worry about that. And they've done that. And they would send me their quote, and they would send it back on email, right? Come to lease, I just click through it and sign it, and that's about it. The bill come out, always match exactly what they said. So this year, let's say, they said I had to owe like 1,800, right? My bill went up from last year. 2 years prior, right? They added the smart lock system, so it went up like $100 the year before. Then last year, they added the year after they added the Wi-Fi and cable on with the apartment, so that's basically another $100, and they always explain that, right? I'm like, okay. So this year, when they called me for a renewal, I'm thinking about leaving, right? Because it was just starting to go down. There was a shooting on my building. I mean, literally in the two people's apartment. Um, a lot of other things going on around, but it's nothing to the management's fault. It's just, I guess, a change in screening process or something. I don't know, right? But anyway, literally to me, it's turned to the hood. It's just fancy, right? And so I was debating, right, whether I should stay or not. And they called, and then one lady called Frances, and not Frances, Jessica, and she called me, and she's like, "Are you gonna renew?" I'm like, I'm thinking about it, because I was like, I already knew where I'm going is where I knew I was going, right? I'm like, I don't know, I'm thinking about going out in this area and get a house, And so next thing I know, the manager, Frances, who's been here at least 5 years, and they've always looked out for me, right? And she calls back and she says, "Brad, I need to know, like, today, pretty much." She said, I know this early, but um, are you thinking about renewing at least?" I said, "Well, what's it going to be?" She said, "Oh, 1,800. I'm like, $40 increase. And I thought, I can pay this and then move in the fall, which is now, right? So instantly I thought that. So I felt okay with that. So I said, okay, deal. I'll do that. And they sent me over again, sent me the email confirming that, sent the lease, right? I clicked through it and sent it back, right? It's November 11th and 12th, stuff like that, right? So come around my niece, at this time, the older manager, Heather, had left. Frances, I knew she was about to leave. New management that came over, right? And so other neighbors started talking about how their rent was jumping up $300, $400, and they're like, "What?" Yeah. And a few of them fought, and they actually dealt with them. Gave maybe $100 increase, something like that. Others they didn't. Particular people, right? And I'm like, okay, wow. I was, I was fortunate that they looked out for me before they left out of here, because they probably saw what they was gonna do. And so sure enough, come to end of January, my bill for my renewal month, which February came out, instead of 1,800, it's 2,000. Like over there, like, hey, what's the deal with this? This is a mistake, or I've been deceived, right? Because I know I had signed a lease, right? So I don't know if they put changes in it. And so, that was just me straight up. And so she said, "Oh, no, yeah, that's crazy. We quoted you this. I don't know what's going on with your bill. I'll check it out," and blah, 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 right? So she sincerely went and tried to help and talk to friends. And I could see something was going on, right? So I kind of like, okay, well, just have your manager call me and contact me about this, right? Didn't do it, so I go do my Tai Chi, my Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and stopped in the office and like, um, where's the manager? Hey, what's going on? There's another guy in there this time, Jesse, right? I guess he came in at the same time with her. He's fast talking, right? "Oh, well, but Brad, the economy, this and that, and the rates going." I said, "Hey, man, look, that ain't got nothing to do with me." I said, "I'm here for a simple reason. I was either, there's either been a mistake or somebody deceived. This, either way, I need to know." I said, "Because I was quoted this, and now my bill is this, and no one's came to contact me and say something. Hey, good morning." And so he kept fast talking, right? Then I said, "Well, let the manager know, blah, blah, blah." Oh, I'll tell her. We went there a couple of days later, right? He said, "Oh, yeah, I talked to her. First thing she asked was he mad?" I'm like, "What?" He said, "Yeah," and I told her, "I talked to you, and you had already said, hey, look, I'm not angry, but I just need to know this truth so I can get this straight, because I feel I was deceived." And she said, "Okay," still ignore me, like almost 2 months. Finally cornered it down. She's like, "Oh, well, we'll get back with corporate and see what we can do." I'm trying to explain this whole process, right? Like, when they quote me, they quote me. It's for everything. She gonna try to tell me there's a mistake, girl. There is a mistake, right? But the mistake was the quote to me, right? Wait, you can't pull that back, but they did. And like I said, I didn't read that lease, right? So There were certain parts at the bottom, so I'm looking at it. Because what they did was take the 1800 total amount and put it up in the lease, right? Then they added. So she's literally telling me, like I told you, the cable and stuff, all that trash, all that's included in the rent, right? They took the 1800, put it there, and added all that stuff. So you're telling me they made a mistake? I can see maybe if they said the garage, but I wouldn't have believed it anyway, because these are the same people I've been dealing with, right? They don't make that kind of mistake. And so I told her, I can see if you didn't say the garage. The garage. I said, even that, I wouldn't really take that to heart too, because they don't do that. I said, you're telling me that they quoted me a price that does not include what's included in the apartment, that I can't opt out of. I can't opt out of the Wi-Fi and cable, get my own. I can't opt out of the smart locks, right? So she was like, well, yeah, I understand. I'll get back with corporate. This was like March, right? May, February, well, March, I believe. And she comes back and says, um, corporate said there's nothing they can do, right? So that March check, I managed to write on it, right? I can do my two-hand writing for a little bit. But I managed to write, okay, dispute, quoted amount 1800, right? But I made the check for the 2000, right? Because they also refused now. This time they refused to, or when I did that, right, for the next month, which was going March, April, right? They, Francis, they had her tell me, she said, Brad, I'm sorry, we can't sign your checks anymore. I'm like, what do you mean sign? You know, she's like, I said, Francis, you guys always fill them out. I sign it. I'm in two hands, remember? And she laughed, said, oh, yeah, that's right. I'll get back with you. So then I managed to call, right, um, after I posted something about how corrupt they were, right? And I said, Francis, the last of the people I trust here. And so she calls that day, and I tell her everything, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And why are you not, why are you suddenly not helping me fill out my checks? And she says, oh, well, we had a meeting with corporate and we decided that's a liability. I'm like, how is it a liability when I'm the one to sign it if it matches the bill? It's already clued me into, right? Because I wrote that, they're like, oh, he can dispute it, right? So we make him write that 2000 instead of the 18. Then, but it didn't work. Okay, so they denied me that right? Didn't work. Next thing I know, now again, y'all know I've been out here doing my Tai Chi a while. These people come out of the office, the management team, right, the employees, come out there while I'm doing my Tai Chi at the pool. Never had before. Now they suddenly start having to adjust the chairs, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't respond negative, right, because they don't bother me with that. That doesn't bother me. My Tai Chi just goes on its own, right? I can talk to people and everything else. So I'm looking at them like, hey, good morning. And I'm still doing Tai Chi. So, even one of the ugly mean ones started even speaking to him because I would speak to him. Why not? And so then that didn't work. Another time I saw right through this end down here, there's another apartment they have called a Brandon at 301. Right? I'm at the pool doing my Tai Chi. This guy Eddie, he used to be here, right? He comes through. I'm like, hey Eddie, right? Dude always talk to me, hug me, whatever. Say, hey Brad, what's up? Even if he see me out somewhere, right? He ignored me, looked away, right? And he just looked angry at me. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, and he was with Savannah, the manager, so I'm like, okay, I got it quickly. Went on, finished my Tai Chi, enjoyed my day, right? Uh, the next Friday, I was doing Tai Chi. I was at the pool, and around the edge, outside of the pool, there's fenced in, right? Well, the lawn service team, which has come on a Thursdays every single week since I have been here, 2014, suddenly comes on a Friday here, right? I don't really hear stuff going around. They still get here about 7. All of a sudden, come 8:30, I start hearing mowers go up. Then mowing, mowers. I sorry, y'all, the numbness. And I'm like, okay. So there I come out doing my Tai Chi at 9. They're over here doing that. Next thing I know, around the outside of the pool. They're over there, right? They're they're not in the pool, so I can't say nothing. But they have weed blowers, weed whackers, all this stuff just on the grass around the pool. I'm like, what are you doing? Finish my Tai Chi, again. Nobody takes and interrupts my joy. So I went inside. I told him, I said, just to test waters, right? I said to Savannah, the manager, hey, if you don't want me doing my Tai Chi, you can just say I can find another place. Oh, no, the crew just, they got a new contract. So they just asked could they switch and do this on Fridays, and so they can do their new contract. I'm like, oh. And before I forget that, I'm just go ahead and give you the answer, give you back the conflict in that. The next time when it was with corporate in June, she said that they didn't have enough workers, so they asked can they do it on Fridays instead, which never made sense, right? But there's a pool right here, and there's a fence. So back here behind it, pool, see the fence. But so she lied, right? Tell me the different reasons. But here's the thing, right? I've been here. I talk to everybody. I talk to these crews sometimes, right? Look, this crew on Fridays before this, they worked at 301, right? That day I saw Eddie, bam, walked out, right? And I told them in the meeting what he did. I told him, and you should have saw his face when I said it, because sometimes like I can see people so clear, right, like a TV show. And I told him, I said, here's what you did, Eddie. You went over there after you started, okay, well, we ain't gonna sign his checks in. We'll fill out his checks. And then you went over there because you saw that wasn't bothering me and said, hey, I want you guys to go over here and I'm gonna switch your day to Friday. I just want you to fuck with this guy. Just make all the noise you can and stand around the pool and, annoy him. This, I believe, right? No, not paranoia. Just, I believe. Just based on what I observed. And come true, right? So I go in the office, grab my little coffee, go back after my Tai Chi like I always do, and went back to my apartment. Didn't say anything about it because they were outside the pool. Next week, I come. One of the young ladies there with a weed blower at the gate of the pool. Over here, where you need this to get in. And I look at her and she kind of moves aside. And I open the gate and sure enough, she comes behind me. Starts blowing around the pool, right? Like, okay. Now y'all coming in the pool. Next thing I know, a couple other guys coming on the other side, weed whackers, y'all, the stuff that kicks stuff up, right? So this safety issue for one thing. Now, but you got these people inside your public area after it's open, when they're here at 7, shouldn't they start there? And I came in after that and I told her that, right? And so the next time, again, this guy comes in with a weed whacker. At this time, this day, another young lady's over here at this side. I'm on my side. He comes on my side. As soon as I see him, I said, stop him. Hey, man, that's dangerous. You can wait. You got all this grounds out here, right? And he goes over by the young lady and does it. And I saw that and I stopped my Tai Chi and I'm like, hey, this is dangerous, man. Get out. You try to pretend he ain't understand my ass, right? No. And so I went in, and I brought this up to the manager. Hey, this is safety. You got people out here, and they coming in here doing this. And she's like, oh, well, I'll get some. Yeah, you right. And then next week, man, tell you they stood outside that gate. Didn't come in. Weed whackers, blowers, everything they had. And just standing there. I think I did a video that time. I had stopped and recorded. Making noise. And then after that, again, the next week, they came in there. Inside the pool again, right? Not only did they come in with the weed whack, 2 guys came in with silver canisters where you spray the weeds. They're spraying. Y'all see where I do Tai Chi, right? It's not one guy on this side of me on the pool and that side of, it's one guy on this side of me and that side of me. And I'm doing my Tai Chi, right? And I'm looking down, I can see them look at you and you can catch the corner and the guy smile like, yeah, we fucking with him. Didn't say nothing. So I went on, and when I talked to them, talked to her later, I said, look, I said, well, harassing me and all this crap is one thing. You've now endangered everybody out here. What do you mean? Why would they be spraying the pool deck? Where are the weeds on the pool deck? Why are they spraying around me? Why one guy not spraying one side and another side? Why are they not spraying the weeds along the fence line, but they're spraying the pool deck, right? And so I would bring this up. So that happened, right? So anyway, by the time this come around now with July, right? June 1st, y'all. I saw her and manager, Eddie, right? Go in the office. Ah, man, I'm beeline over there best I could, right? I'm humping my leg. I get in there. Hey, I need to talk to y'all. They closed the door. I brought all this stuff up. Still the controversy about the rent, right? And Eddie's gonna say, well, Brad, if how come I'm just hearing about this like we boys now, right? Well, Brad, you know me. How come I'm just hearing about this now and it's June? And it just started in February. I said, well, your manager just told me she said she talked to corporate. Were you corporate at that time? And I kind of laughed, right? She didn't like that. I see her. Ooh, she was getting mad, right? Because I'm just straight telling the truth. And I'm bringing up all these issues here. Well, what about the check? Well, Brad, that was my idea because I felt it was a liability. And I'm like, well, how many people do you have or ever known at any of your complex that actually need help to fill out the check so it's readable, And he said, well, just you, and she did too. I said, okay, then, it's about me. This is something you're doing to me. Have I, all this time, my check been filled out? Have I had a problem? With coming back telling somebody a lie matches the bill, right? I said, now the only thing is because, yes, you still won't give me a writing, an answer, any legitimate answer, why my rent is being put this way. And you dealing with other people, because other people talk to me, right? They see me out here smoking and walking, practice walking, even doing my Tai Chi sometimes. And so they always feel like they want to talk to me, and like, who's that guy? And so they do. And then a few of them tell me, how they call with a renewal, and they argue back, and so they only got like $100 increase, stuff like that. I'm like, did they give you a quote for what it was going to be and change it? They said, no, they just said this was going to be. I was like, you crazy. And I went over it. I said, oh, okay. So I brought this up, right? And I don't name people. I walked one of my neighbors. She's on Social Security. And now so she's been kind of settled with it, and she's got a car now. And all of a sudden now her rent is jacked up $300 something, right? No, she can't. She said, Brad, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, hey, I already been over there talking to people. I said, I'm gonna get through mine. I said, but come on. I went over with her, and I talked to her. Talked to these people. And I had her sit down there. And she was telling, hey, I can't afford this. I guess you're going to have to put me out because I can't afford it. And they said, well, you need to figure out something, blah, blah, blah. We went back, and I was like, y'all wrong. And so she went back over, and finally they called and said, okay, well, we'll go down. Can you afford $100? And she said, yeah, I can do that. And so they gave the increase of $100, right? Now, me being me, I didn't go back to them saying, hey, you gave her this, so see, you should give me. I didn't, right? Because I didn't do that for that reason. I was helping her. It was the other neighbors, the other tenants, right, that were telling me this on their own. And I was telling them how, they jacked me up, but they gave me a quote. It still wouldn't work with me. So I brought all this stuff up, and they were like, that's not true, and this, that. And I'm like, okay. And so when I said, I told them, I said, well, you changed the lease and you did this and that. They said, no. And so I said, okay, first of all, where does it say on that lease that all this Wi-Fi and everything that's included is added to it? Where does it say that? I said, but now, go to the garage. See, y'all know I dig, right? Before I start speaking, man, I'm going to dig as best I can. It might take me a little longer to do it, many times to read it, a few other times to understand it, but I'm going to stay in it till I understand it, right? So I did. I went back to my leases. I'm like, okay, where's that increase? How are they justifying? So I put up on my garage addendums, right? All of those, prior years. Every one of them says garage, blah, 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 storage, blah, blah, little technical stuff, right? But nothing really major. This one, on this lease, said garage is separate from monthly rent. And all this little writing, y'all. These paragraphs I went through for, like I said, all this time. And so That's where my, uh-huh. So they did deceive me, right? I signed it, yeah. This is deception. It was never disclosed and not on the front. You're telling me at the top, here's my brand. It matches what the email said. Nope. So I told her, well, read the addendum about that. And she read it, right? She only read the parts where I was first talking about, right? That was always on my old one. She stopped. And I said, well, why don't you finish? And Eddie, like, yeah, I want to hear the rest too. She read that part. And I said, see what I'm saying? So, Brad, you're saying this, Eddie. You're saying that we purposely deceived you, took advantage of your TBI, knowing you couldn't go through this lease, and we jacked these things up. I said, yes, this proves it. Eddie's like, oh, well, that doesn't mean the words don't mean anything. If those words didn't mean anything, why would they be there? That's some bullshit. So, that's how that works, right? So what I told them, I said, okay, tomorrow's second. I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna bring you a check. And it's gonna be for what you quoted me, 1813, right? That's it. And that's for everything. I said, and I want all that overpayment I did from February up until May reduced back on my next check, on my next bill, right? So I sent the check, like I said, they cashed it. Never. I told them, hey, you got a problem with sending it back, deny it, but tell me why. They didn't. They say anything. They cashed the check. Next bill come out right the next month for July. Boom, they done added it to it, right? The difference. So, okay, I go calculate it all through myself. From those months, I wrote overpayment February through May, right? 200 something dollars. And so, and I wrote the check, total $745. This was on the 1st of July. 5th of July, they bring a notice to vacate in 5 days to my door, signed by the management here, right? Morgan, the new one. I'm like, wait, what? I just go about my business, right? Just keep on going. I'm like, this crap, what they saying? I'm paid up, right? So on the 12th, they call and say, oh, that's 745. Bro, your check bounced. Well, I went over there, of course, right? We got into it. I'm like, well, first of all, you evicted me. Why are you trying to cash it? And I said, I'm just trying to get this whole rent straight, and that's all. Just stop all this stuff. I'm just trying to end this peacefully and let it be what it be. You know, what's fair. They refused. So then all three and the manager, Savannah, Savannah, Morgan, and which Jessica, they all in there, right? And so Jessica says, well, Brad, all right, I made a mistake, okay? Okay? I'm like, yeah, and that's supposed to cost me? Well, that's just the way it is. I made a mistake. I said, oh. So when Francis called me following up after you, and I said, yeah, did she make that same mistake too? You can get out. Start yelling at me. You can get out. There's three other people that look like me. One's a female that has the same skin tone as me. Y'all know me, I ain't never big on no race stuff, but I point out what things wouldn't lead to a pattern, right? Same age bracket as me, probably younger, but in the same bracket, right? 45 plus. Been over here, saying had an issue with management, but yelled at him, told him get out, called the police on another brother over there. Yeah, for him saying, hey, blah, 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 what's going on with this pool? They called the police on him, dude, like he threatened him or something. So this is how that story is. And so anyway, so I'm in there and I'm telling them, so it's like, well, Brad, you're gonna have to get out, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm not going anywhere, we're going to court. And they said, okay. And so finally, July 22nd, guy came, knocked at the door, served me a notice, right? Now they're saying, okay, they're trying to sue me. They're saying my bill is like $5,000 at this time, right? Because they adding all this $2,000 plus. But I get the order from the court, right? It says I owe $1,700, which I don't know where that come from, and that my monthly rent, my normal monthly rent, is $1,813. So if I gave you the $745, that balanced out. If you're telling the court that balanced out, that means I ain't missed no rent. It's all paid up, right? And so anyway, this goes. I contact the little guy to contact this guy, paralegal guy, and he helped me out. He did the motion. He listened. He put pretty much my whole story in there because I started working on this because I saw it coming, y'all. And I didn't want to get bogged down, so I just went on and put this out, right? And so he put in the motion, basically, I want to hear him, blah, 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 for court, because it's a rent dispute, right? He said that, yeah, normally they said you should likely get a hearing because it's a dispute now, before, so nothing going to happen till you go to court. Okay, so this was all done like July time frame. Again, now I go back to when the sheriff showed up Friday with this thing telling me get out by Monday, right? And I'm like, wait, how did I miss something? And so what the guy basically was saying was that what this guy did, because my stuff was solid, y'all. I had the evidence, the bills, the receipts, the writing on the check, all that. I had everything. So they had no course, especially if you're telling the court I owe less than what my rent even is. What do I owe that for? Where's that number come from? Why aren't you asking for the $5,000? Wouldn't you put that on there that I owe? See what I'm saying? So all that come into question. So I'm like, this is gonna get ridiculous, right? It's gonna get thrown out. So I tried to go pay them on the 1st of August with my check. Of course, they didn't take it. Got smart, went on, got a cashier's check, and through my bank. It was dated the 4th, so it's paid off, right? And I went down to court. The guy was like, you have to make out to the county. I didn't know that. But there's no court order to do that, right? There was no order to do that. The guy just suggested it. If they wouldn't take August rent, and so I just figured, well, look, I got the check. Called the judge, judge should be coming up pretty soon. Hearing should be coming up pretty soon. I just take the check. He say, Brad, you're right, which I know I am. Here's the check for this month, August, right? So what happened was, that's clear. When? So what they did was I guess the guy told me on the 16th or something of this month, this lawyer, James Barron III, this joker gonna go, and he changed the suit, right? It was saying that he never put in money he didn't deposit rent money into the court system. I wasn't supposed to. And he got the judge next day sign off on it, right, I guess. And that's how that happened. So he changed up on me the whole reason. So why are you evicting me again? I don't, doesn't ever make sense. Why are they evicting me? So this guy goes in here and changes the whole summary of why, based on some check I was never ordered to put anywhere. And they denied him, even blocked me on their own website, so I couldn't deposit the money, right? So, but he goes and says this, and this is how this notice got served. All this deception, y'all. So, I'll see what happens Monday. I don't want y'all to worry. I'm in a good spot, y'all. This me, man, this in me. This is all it is. I'm not pulling or reaching or blocking, taking from nowhere. This is a part of being where I'm at. You're gonna get haters. You're gonna get tested. Hey, welcome them. Because each one has made me strong. I'm not